D&D5e swarms are kinda trash, right Tyler 1?
Did they think that was okay to even put it in the game? They're trash!
Yeah, they don't really act like real swarms. I mean, they're really just useless blobs that inch across the field into your space and then never hit you because their attack mods are 0 and your players probably have above a 13 AC. So let's break down why they suck, how I fix them. So, what's going on with swarms anyways? If we look at the official 2014 stat block here, it's got a few serious shortcomings. So I get what they're going for with the swarm trait. Also, how the DPS drops as the swarm takes damage. Cool in theory, but that's basically all it does. And I gotta be honest, it's pretty terrible. I mean, it's got a +3 to hit, which means it's missing anything in armor. And it can only damage you when you're in its space. Pair that with abysmal movement speed, and this thing has 0 battlefield pressure. No danger, unless you're level 1 or 2. These things are barely even a nuisance. When I think of a swarm, I think of this scene from The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. You see how he just got devoured alive by scarabs in a matter of seconds? That's what it should be like to get surrounded by a swarm. That's a swarm. Swarms really shouldn't be rolling for damage. Swarms really shouldn't be rolling to see if they hit you. There are hundreds of creatures within them. You see, the real question is, it's not if they hit you, it's how many get through. Insects get into your house by crawling through every nook and cranny. Now imagine a dwarf in full plate mail. That's armor made to deflect swords and arrows, not hundreds of tiny mouths flooding through every seam, biting you from the inside. And no, before you ask, I'm not doing a not the bees joke. Okay, fine, I'll do a not the bees joke.
The bees! Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes! Eyes! Ah!
Okay, are you happy now? Well, the condition immunities make sense, and I like the resistances, but everything else about the stat block physically pains me. It physically pains me.
Do you like hurting me, Wizards of the Coast? Is that really your goal here, is to spite me?
So anyways, the core problem with the swarm stat block is these things don't play like swarms. It plays like a slow blob of moving creepy crawlies that are actually begging to roll a nat 20 just to impose itself upon you. So if the base stat block fails to drive that visceral, creeping, get these things off me energy, how do we fix that? I have your solution. Let's move on to my stat block, and I'll show you how I fixed it. Okay, so first off, I added a bloodied HP marker because, let's be real, doing math mid-combat is actually cursed, and I'm convinced that you legally need committed to a psych ward if you enjoy it. Okay, so that's not really a change, that's sort of just a formatting thing. So the first actual change, and it's a big one, I rewrote the swarm trait, and it actually represents what a swarm should be now. You'll notice in the trait itself, it mentions that the swarm cannot be targeted by effects that manipulate its form or any single target spell effects, such as Dominate Monster. You can't dominate a swarm of creatures. That spell only works on one creature. So, rules as written before, I guess technically you would be able to, but now I have it in writing that you are not able to do that. And then the second thing you'll notice is something that's probably going to get me thrown into Alcatraz. I get it. giving the swarm reactive might be a little bit spicy, but hear me out for a second. Think about it. We're not just talking about one creature, a single entity. We're talking about a mass of creatures, if you will. Hundreds, maybe even thousands, moving in every which way and direction. They can only hit you if you're within their space, keeping in mind, so I think that if they can manage to slowly crawl their way over to your space, they should get rewarded for it. If somebody keeps running in and out of their space throughout the round of combat, I think it only makes sense that they could continuously bite you. It's a swirling cloud of insects. Alright, so 2 things I want you to look at when you look at my stat block. First things first. The attack now is just an auto hit. So you'll see on every swarm stat block that I make going forward, they're probably going to have the engulf trait and an auto hit swarm attack. So the engulf trait, let's break that down here. You're getting overwhelmed, and that's what the engulf trait is supposed to show. Any hostile creature that starts its turn in the swarm takes damage from its swarm attack. You just roll the damage of the swarm attack. Whether it's bloodied or not, it'll take the bloodied damage. If it's not bloodied, it'll just take the normal damage. Now, guess where I got this trait from? We have to say this really quiet. I got it from 4th edition.
Hey guys, I wasn't talking about 4th edition again. I swear, I wasn't talking about 4th edition.
Yeah, I got the idea from 4th edition. 4th edition, I believe you just take a flat amount of damage when you start your turn in a swarm, and I said, that is actually genius. Why isn't it in 5th edition? Anyways, that's the engulf trait. It's just automatic damage every time you start your turn in the swarm's space. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Now keep in mind, if that swarm is a larger size than medium, that's going to hit everything. Okay, so let's talk about the most important trait now. Also my favorite trait. Didn't just get this idea from my lonesome in 4E. Dungeon Lord J helped me out with this one on my live stream the other day, actually, so I'm going to give him a little bit of credit before he comes to my house and axe murders me. So basically what the Swarmling's trait's function is I wanted swarms to be more than just you stand in a square and you take damage. So think about it like this. When you stick your foot into an anthill, the ants that get onto you do not just hop back off into the colony like a Disney Pixar movie. No. They stay with you and they continuously bite you until you whack them off of yourself. Any excess damage dealt to a swarmling carries over to the creature that they are attached to. So what that means is when the barbarian comes in and he says, "I'll save you, wizard!" and he takes his great axe and cleaves some of the swarmlings off, he's also taking a chunk of the wizard out with him. Area of effect damage vaporizes all the swarmlings. So essentially that's there because if you are in an emergency situation where you are absolutely surrounded and swarmed by creatures, the wizard could, in theory, take out a scroll of burning hands and say, "Don't worry, dear rogue, I'll save you!" and blast a flamethrower into his friend's face to get all the cockroaches off of him. And keep in mind, the swarmling trait triggers every time a creature is hit by a swarm's attack. So the engulf trait triggers swarmlings, the reactive trait can trigger swarmlings, and of course the regular swarm attack triggers swarmlings. And the regular swarm attack, remember, is an auto hit because it does not matter how much armor you have. It is an automatic hit. Very creative ways that we can use swarms now with this type of creature stat block. I think this is a very, very flavorful way to implement swarms into your DND5e games. So anyways, I think I fixed swarms. The official 5e stat block felt like somebody took a single insect and gave it 20 plus hit points and said, "Oh, it's a threat now." But with these changes, now I think a swarm actually feels like a swarm. Now they're not just glorified hazards that miss about 80% of the time. Now your players will have to ask, how long can I survive getting eaten alive by these things? And that's the type of pressure I want at the table. Now, if you liked this video and you want these stat blocks, they're actually on my Patreon for free. You just have to become a member, join the free tier. I also have a Discord where you can post artwork, post your own homebrew, come hang out and talk with me. I'm active every single day. I have a lot of like-minded people in my Discord too, so if you have homebrew that you want to share or questions about a campaign, or maybe you need help with your own stat block, plenty of people in my Discord that can help you, or I'll help you myself if I have the time. I have been DM Dungeon Mastery. Remember that the backer kit info is in the description of this video for Indominant. If you click that link and go back that project, it helps me out if you want to support me. It also helps Odin's Key Gaming. They've already hit their goal on backer kit, so that shows you that it is a quality product. Anyways, I have been DM Dungeon Mastery, and I will catch you guys in the next one. I'm not saying goodnight. I'm just saying. Bye-bye.